I'm Kylie. Don't miss it, right here.
This is the Big Machine Cody Hawkins, and you're watching WGS-TV.
Welcome to another installment of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer. I'm Double B Billy Boudreaux, and this is going to be my Friday Night Smackdown review for the week of April 6th, 2012. So this is the first Friday Night Smackdown under the thumb and rule of John Laurnitis, in a sense, when he's still going out there, still doing that people power era gimmick or whatever he's trying to pull, saying that, you know, he's all about the people. And one person that he did call out in this opening segment was Teddy Long, and I think the real purpose of this gimmick was to have the Laurnitis draw even more heat from the audience than usual. And the way they did it in this segment was they had Teddy Long come out, and apparently they're involving the college fund that Teddy Long had set up through the WWE Board of Directors for his grandchildren. And what Laurnitis and Otunga said is that that college fund was supposed to be under the control of the person who's the title of SmackDown General Manager, who unfortunately now is John Laurnitis. So if Teddy Long wanted to keep that college fund intact, then he would have to work for Laurnitis. And basically, you know, they humiliated him, and in return they had the crowd got even more heat from the crowd. I thought it was an average segment at best. I wasn't really impressed or anything. Wasn't really anything special. I mean, I don't know if Laurnitis needed to have more heat drawn on him, because he was already drawing enough heat from being a lousy mic speaker. But average at best, so I'm going to go 3 out of 5 on this one. And the opening match, apparently Otunga and Laurnitis thought this is what the people wanted. It was David Otunga and Mark Henry taking on R-Truth with Little Jimmy in a handicap match. Really don't need to go too much into detail on what happened into this match, because, you know, it was basically Mark Henry dominating R-Truth, hit the World's Strongest Slam. Otunga wanted the tag and wanted the pin to gain all the glory without doing any of the work in the match, and that's what happened. So it was one of those handicap matches that really just wasn't worth watching, in my opinion. 2 out of 5. It really didn't hold my attention. Wasn't really impressed. You know, it was kind of predictable what was going to happen, especially when you have Mark Henry on your team in a handicap match against one guy. So it just really didn't. It really didn't gel, in my opinion. But like I said, didn't impress me at all. 2 out of 5. But what really impressed me was the match following it, and that was the no disqualification match with Randy Orton and Kane. You know, the WrestleMania rematch. Wonderful match between these two. I was very impressed. Nice match for Friday Night Smackdown. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Now, I want everybody to keep this in mind, because I talked about this with Ashley, the Studley Man Ashley, last night on Skype during Smackdown, and I'm going to pass this thought on to you guys. I mean, at WrestleMania, we had Kane beating Randy Orton. And then on Smackdown, we had Randy Orton beating Kane in the no disqualification match. And what that says to me is that we need a rubber match. We need match number 3. And in all likelihood, if they were going to go through with a match number 3, the best place to do it at would be at the next pay-per-view, which is Extreme Rules. Have a rubber match between Randy Orton and Kane at Extreme Rules. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen, you know, but that's the take I get. I mean, we had one match go to Kane, we had one match go to Randy Orton. So we need to have a match 3 to decide, you know, who wins. Who wins the best of 3 series, in a sense. So that's what I take from it, and I think that's what we need. You know, we need to have that rubber match. We need to find out, you know, who's the better man in this feud. You know, could have, you know, it would have been okay to possibly cultivate the feud at WrestleMania, but you know, I was good to see they're actually continuing it, like with CM Punk and Jericho. They're going to continue the Randy Orton Kane thing, and on SmackDown, phenomenal job. It was a phenomenal match, and like I said, a match number 3 kind of makes sense. It would kind of make sense for it to happen at Extreme Rules. So be sure you guys, you know, keep an eye out for that. It's, again, I'm not spoiling anything. There's no inside. I don't have any inside information. I don't spoil or anything like that. I'm just going based on assumption. And I assume, because we had Kane win at WrestleMania, we had Randy Orton win on SmackDown, that we'll have a rubber match. And best possibility for that to happen would be at Extreme Rules. Have them settle that in pay-per-view. And what kind of a match? Who knows? Who knows? But again, it's possible that we could have that at Extreme Rules. Next up on Friday Night SmackDown, we had the debut of Ryback, you know, aka Skip Sheffield, rather, taking on this guy Barry Stevens. I'm not going to say too much about Stevens because I don't know anything about him. But I will say this, from what I saw of Ryback, I'm liking the from just seeing in one match. I'm thinking Ryback is a lot better gimmick than the corn-fed meathead. Ryback, they can actually kind of market in a sense. You know, they can allow him to, I guess, be intense like he wanted to be. And if you look back, excuse me, with the corn-fed meathead, you know, he's a southern boy, and he's kind of, you know, easygoing and whatnot, and well, he still like wrestling and so. But from what I saw, that kind of gimmick, you know, keep in mind, I have never seen Ryback in FCW. I'm in Louisiana, and there is no possible way for me to get any kind of FCW coverage at all. But from what it looked to me, it kind of looked like the gimmick really didn't suit him. It really just wasn't the right type of gimmick for him to have at that time. The Ryback gimmick, well, I don't know too much about it, but from how impressive he looked. One, I'll say, coming back from I think it was a torn bicep injury he had. He looked in really phenomenal shape. He looked in really good shape. And from what I've seen so far after one match, I kind of feel that the Ryback gimmick is a lot better for him. Now, where they go from here remains to be seen. But, like I said, it looks a lot better than the corn-fed meathead gimmick. They can actually do something with Ryback. So, just for the return and how impressive he looked, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, we kind of figured that this was going to happen, and it did happen. It was a segment involving Daniel Bryan and AJ, and apparently they really needed to use this gimmick and what they were attempting to do. Think back on Monday Night Raw and the reactions Daniel Bryan was getting. Daniel Bryan was getting a positive reaction, even though technically he's supposed to be a heel in the company. So I believe they used the purpose of this segment of having Daniel Bryan go out there and not only try to berate the crowd, but break up with AJ and make her cry in a sense, was to get the crowd to turn back on Daniel Bryan so he can go back to being that status of being a heel. in the company, and that's what his current position is to be a heel. And in a sense, it worked and it didn't work. What I mean by that is, they had some of the crowd that did turn on him and start booing him for what he did and what he said about, AJ and breaking up with her. But from what it looked, it kind of looked like some of the crowd were still cheering for him, with that, yes, 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 yes. And by the way, I've heard there's a t-shirt now for Daniel Bryan going, yes, 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 yes. So, for the segment working and yet not working at the same time, I'm gonna go. I'm kind of trying to make up my mind at the same time I'm recording this. I'm probably gonna go. Let's go 4 out of 5. Let's go on 4 out of 5 because Daniel Bryan was good on the microphone, and to me, he's getting better. He's starting to get better. He's starting to develop that attitude that really niches him, I think, in a sense, as a heel. So I'm going to go ahead and go 4 out of 5. Then next up we have Big Show and Heath Slater. Do I need to go into detail with that one? Really? Cody Rhodes is on commentary, and apparently I think Cody Rhodes might be using his rematch clause, and it might happen at Extreme Rules. Again, I don't know for sure. But basically, Big Show owned Heath Slater. Yeah. 3.5 out of 5. It's basically just a squash match. Nothing really impressive, except for the fact that not only did a Big Show attempt to do his best impersonation of the alpha male Monty Brown with the pounce, but he also chokeslammed and knocked out Heath Slater. Then we had Nikki Bella and Beth Phoenix. Okay. Beth Phoenix is one of the divas in the WWE who has the look and the talent, and Nikki Bella went over on her. Nikki Bella has the look, but hardly has any talent. And they had her go over on Beth Phoenix, the Divas Champion. I'm not very happy with that decision, with that move. 2 out of 5. Nikki Bella, of the Bella Twins. Even though they are so nice, we see them twice. But that's all they're good for. They're nice to look at. They can't wrestle. They hardly have any skill. I should say any skill that we know of. But anyway, I want to talk about this new guy that made his appearance. Apparently his name is Damien Sandow. And from what I was able to ascertain about him, he's another FCW talent that's been called up to the WWE, who's going to be heel. And apparently he's one of these guys who's going to come and try to save everybody from their own ignorance of sorts. One of these, he's sort of playing one of these high society kind of guys who's not only, high on himself and, all uppity and whatnot, but I also believe, he also believes that, his purpose is to save everybody from their own ignorance. You can tell just from one promo from the guy that his character is going to be a heel. I'm not going to give him a score because I really don't know too much about the guy and I haven't seen any of his work. So I think I'm going to just wait and see, if he starts cutting either, future vignettes, or if they're just going to call him up and have him start doing matches after cutting one promo. I don't know, but I'm still just going to wait and see, what kind of worker this guy Damien Sandow really is. Then we have Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio. If Del Rio wins, then Del Rio becomes a future #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship with Sheamus. I'm going to say this one thing: Alberto Del Rio looked in really good shape, especially since he was recovering from a groin tear he had since like December. It was good to see him back, and a lot of people won't hear me say that too often about him, but he was a really good heel with the WWE. He was one of the top heels, and when they lost him before the Royal Rumble, I thought that was a huge blow, because I kind of figured, if they weren't going to do anything, if with one guy, they had to do something else with him, and I believe, if I can remember correctly, they were trying to do something big with Alberto Del Rio at the time. But, with him going down with the injury, it was kind of like the whole Wade Barrett situation as well. I mean, they had certain plans set for whatever they were going to do in the future, and because of injuries, they had to change it. And, of course, with Wade Barrett, they had to scrap the Money in the Bank ladder match. They had planned for WrestleMania, and who knows what they had planned for Alberto Del Rio. But I will say this, he looked in good shape coming back from the groin tear injury, and they immediately inserting him back into a major storyline now, especially with him now becoming the #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. Even though Daniel Bryan did say in this segment earlier in the night that he was going to cash in his rematch clause. I don't know which way they're going to go first. If they're going to let the match between Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio happen, or they're going to have Daniel Bryan have his rematch with Sheamus for the World Heavyweight title. Really hard to say which way they're going to go first, because, all intents and purposes, Daniel Bryan should have his rematch first before they go any further with Alberto Del Rio. But, again, this is WWE Creative we're talking about. It's hard to figure out where they're going to go with their storylines. Match-wise, the Alberto Del Rio won the match, and in a sense kind of paid homage to Eddie Guerrero, in a sense, because behind the referee's back, he brought in a chair, and Sheamus knocked him down, and then picked up the chair. Now, he hadn't used it, and then Alberto Del Rio starts doing his best impersonation of the late, great Eddie Guerrero, feigning that he got hit with a steel chair. Referee sees that and has no choice but to disqualify Sheamus, therefore declaring Alberto Del Rio the winner, and now has a future World Heavyweight Championship shot against Sheamus. So, good main event. Like I said, really great to see Alberto Del Rio back. He is a good heel with the company, even though, in the past I have ragged on him quite a bit. It's still good to see him back in the company and, doing what he does best, getting the crowd to hate the living crap out of him. So, I'm going to go ahead and give that main event a 4 out of 5. So, now what I want to know from you, the WGS-TV viewers and subscribers, your thoughts on Friday Night Smackdown this week. The two ways to do it. One, either leave your comments in the comment section below, or in a video response detailing your thoughts on Friday Night Smackdown. Don't forget to like and favorite this video, and if you haven't yet, please subscribe to youtube.com/WrestleGame. So with that being said, I'm Billy Boudreaux, saying thank you very much for watching.